Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. I'd like to welcome y'all to Balling on Another Level. I'm here with my co-host, TPway, host of the TPway the Giant podcast.
Ah,
Check him out.
yes,
As
sir.
well as well as Tavon, aka Pway, host of the Way of the One podcast.
We here.
Yes, we are the dream team, and we here with another episode. And we want to first we already talked about the win that came from Colorado last week Saturday against TCU, but we already looking ahead, just like the team. Hopefully, we looking ahead to Nebraska Saturday at the same time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We ready, and we also got some concerns as well as expectations, just like last week. And I want to start off with TPway the Giant. TPway, do you have any concerns coming up?
Do I? Now, look, let me just preface this how I, usually preface this because I understand. Look, if I was the viewer, if I was from the outside looking in, I would probably think that I was a hater of the Colorado Buffs. All
You
right.
were, you were.
All
Go
right.
ahead, no,
So let me
continue.
just preface this with just letting y'all know, listen, I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't giving y'all my truth and honesty. All right. So, with that being said, a concern that I do have is it takes a mature team to come off maybe the biggest win of your career and to play a better better roster team the next week and to play either just as good or better than a really well played game than you played the first time.
Okay.
So my concern is that are these gentlemen mature enough to 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 really take it a step further and really do what it takes to block the outside noise and play a better game? Because offensively, yes, they did spectacular things, but defensively, they're going to have to play a better game. Simple as that. They're going to have to tighten up. Um, Also, the early turnovers, they can't cough the ball up like they did versus TCU. And so that's just something to be aware about. Also, I've said this a few times already. Travis Hunter, can we please get a game out of him to where he's not starting off so slow? Can we get a game from him that from start to finish, he's ready to go? No drop balls. All right. Make them count.
He dropped
I,
one.
I want to see, I really want to see a Colorado team that has the mindset of playing their best football no matter who they're playing against. Like, imagine if they were playing Alabama type mindset. Because if he does that shit, starts off slow versus them, oh, it's good night. It's good night. So I just want to see a complete start to finish game from Travis Hunter. Defensive line. This is where I feel like the game can possibly get out of control.
Mm,
Can y'all make it a battle, please?
mm.
Can y'all show some type of fight? Because TCU was whipping that ass. So give me something that says, listen, we have some dogs on the D line too. Give me something that says we're going to make it hard for quarterbacks, not to just be in the pocket and have Sunday dinner before they make a pass. So those are just my slight, concerns going into this game. And I want to see ultimately, can it be a better, well-rounded game for Colorado?
Pway, any concerns, King?
Concerns. Okay, so first of all, I checked out
Speak
Nebraska
up a little bit.
versus.
Speak up a little bit.
Y'all hear me? You hear me? You hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
I checked out Nebraska versus Minnesota. I watched the game, watched the highlights, and went back and reviewed the tape. And first thing that concerns me about Nebraska is their offensive line and D line. That's going to be an area of concern. They're big up front. They definitely create a nice push, and I think that that's going to be the tell of the game. The
Mm.
quarterback, easy money, easy
He had a
money.
bad game. He had a
He
bad
had a
game
bad
last
game.
game for
I
sure.
am concerned of his running ability, though. That's going to be
Agree.
big for the defense.
That was one of my
Um,
points.
we're going to see a lot of the option game and see how they react as far as understanding where the ball is, misdirection, and stuff like that. So they got to be very, very disciplined come Saturday. Defensive wise, I feel like they were the same as TCU. Ain't nothing that concerning. I do feel like their D line is a little heavy, but as far as they run a lot of man coverage, they also run a cover two from time to time.
Right.
But for the main part, it's a man to man. So TCU did the same thing. I feel like the underneath routes for Colorado is going to be there, and once again, I think Dylan Edwards, his out routes are going to be there
Mm.
all game. So stay with my prediction. So we good.
I think anybody who decides to go man first Colorado is just not wise. I mean,
That's a good
you
point.
y'all to beat Colorado and to especially after that first showing, if you want to be effective versus them, I would like to see some pressure on Shador,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna have to zone and have some schemes um, drawn up. But I don't think it's wise for anybody to man up versus them guys at all.
So let me be honest here. I feel like the tail of the tape showed that of course Shador he doesn't fold under pressure, but his options are very limited under pressure. You know, when they bring that heat on him, like P said last episode, he could have flicked it in the end zone
Mm-hmm.
one play, and instead he took the sack. Another one is when he ran out of bounds and he could have
Yeah.
either threw it away or not. So his improvisation
Mm-hmm.
uh could be improved. But at the end of the day, it all depends on the pressure that's put on him. So I would say that's a concern of mine. I feel like Nebraska, if they throw that blitz on them,
Right.
you know, things could be shaken up a little bit. As well as, like P said again, that quarterback running. That man had 91 yards last game against Minnesota.
He did. He did.
91 yards. Now, I will say every time TCU's quarterback ran, he got some yards every time.
That's true.
The very few times that the defensive line actually put some pressure on him, he got out that pocket and either got a first down or he got 4+ yards.
Yeah.
So that's another one of my concerns, as well as the defense is actually strong. Nebraska's defense,
They
they are
are.
actually strong.
They
They
were.
only gave up 14 points last game.
Yep.
So we have
13.
to be mindful of that. Uh I was looking at the defense. I saw that they had at least 4 defensive backs out there, 4 or 5 defensive backs. So that means that they're playing small ball, but they're also playing fast ball. They're also playing a lot of man, a lot of zone. You know, not too many linebackers out there. Maybe 3 defensive line out there. Um, so they will be prepared for Colorado's wide receivers, at least as much as they think they will.
Right.
You
Hmm.
know, we'll see what happens on Saturday. But let's talk about the pros. Those were my concerns. Let's talk about the pros. What pros do we have when it comes to Colorado against Nebraska? I'm gonna start with Pway. Let's go backwards.
Well, the first pro is the obvious one. They have Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders.
Hey,
Hey,
I'm
I'm gonna
telling you right
start there,
now.
and I'm gonna start there,
I'm telling you right
and
now.
I'm gonna
I'm
start
knocking
there,
down all over hype, all over hypeness. I'm knocking it straight out. I'm knocking it straight down
and I'm
because
gonna
I know
start
y'all
there.
can't
Trolling.
wait for the
See,
pros.
I knew
So
that was coming. So they have Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders. Let's start
Right.
there. And if man to man's going to be the defense they're playing, get ready. Because I'll take Colorado's receivers in the man to man versus anybody in the nation.
Anybody.
Anybody in the nation. I'll take it. I think their speed is just too much between Horn, Hunter. It's just too much. So, and then with Dylan Edwards coming out the backfield, there's so many schemes, so many things they can do that allows them to be successful. So
They
that's
got
the
the right
pros for
weapon.
me. And defense, I still like the cornerbacks for this game. I still think that they're going to be able to shut down Nebraska's receivers. So you take those two things into consideration. I think they're going to be okay. Those are my pros.
TPway, talk to me.
as far as pros is concerned, I think I mentioned this last time.
I know this is hard for you too. I
Yeah.
know this segment is hard for you. But go
Hey,
ahead.
nah. I'm just gonna make sure that I'm giving y'all true pros that are not filled with biasness.
Please
Um,
do. Please do.
um,
I feel like that was a shot
pros.
beside.
This is Colorado's first home game of the season. I don't know whoever's watching this if you played any level of football before, if you've had that crowd behind you and you played in front of that home crowd, it's a steroid.
It's going to be
Great
It
great.
point.
gives you that energy and it gives you that just extra oomph that's just going to add to the whole game experience.
It's going to
Great
be great.
point.
We already know Colorado is going to be rocking. We know that because they was rocking in uh their spring games and things of
Mm-hmm.
that nature.
Correct.
This is their first home game.
Boulder Nation's coming out. They coming.
Boulder Nation is going to be super live.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And they're coming off their biggest win maybe in the past decade.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably their biggest win.
Right.
So with them on hype from that, I think the locker room having Coach Sanders as their leader, I think they understand that it's a marathon, not a race. So I'm not really too worried of them not being able to kind of turn that game switch on. So with the whole atmosphere being in play, that's a big positive for me. And it's going to be hard for Nebraska to come in there and have their way with a team that's going to be turned up like that. Secondly, um, man, I mean, it's been said plenty of times, but you know, I wouldn't. Be, let's be real. Sorry, y'all, there's kids in the back. Y'all know how it is.
Sorry. Keep it real.
Look, the receivers, man, the receivers really put the world on notice, and they really let it be known that they cannot be stopped. And if it's that one-on-one coverage from with anybody, and I'm not just talking about Travis Hunter. I'm not just talking about Edward. I'm not just anybody. They could make it a mismatch.
Definitely.
So from the performance that I just seen from Shador dotting them up with the receivers that they have, it's hard for me not to believe that they uh, can't put things together. Um, my other positive is coaching, coaching.
Great
The
point.
experience that Colorado has on that coaching staff
Mm-hmm.
is major.
Great point.
You mentioned Shador being better with you know going being under pressure and the plays that he has to make, doing the simple things, throwing the ball out of bounds, you know, making that toss in the end zone. Well, these coaches are watching film with him. And just like we saw what we saw, best believe they saw, what we saw.
Of
Exactly.
course.
And Shador takes me as a guy who is just going to continuously elevate his game and take his game serious. So he may make that mistake once, he may make it twice, but best believe he gonna tighten that thing up, and he may not make it the third time. So with that coaching staff, being up under these players and watching the film and things of that nature, they're going to have a good strategy going into this game, and they're going to make sure that they coached up, ready to play.
Mm.
So so I I agree with both of you. Honestly, I agree with both of you. Definitely the greatest point was the home field advantage, I would
Definitely.
say. I mean, honestly, all of the points that y'all made was actually great points, even when it came to the coaching staff. But let's start off with home field advantage. It will be the first home game for Coach Prime. Let's understand the magnitude of that off rip. All right. Like TPway said, the spring game
It's crazy.
was sold out.
It's crazy.
That's unheard of.
Listen, if we were anywhere near Colorado, we'd be going to that game.
Oh, no
Absolutely.
doubt. No doubt.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
Absolutely.
put it in that perspective.
yeah. I'm in
Absolutely.
Washington
We
State.
be
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. And I
So
sold out.
I would sit in the parking lot for that game. That's
yeah,
how good that
No
game was,
doubt.
you know? So
Hmm.
I definitely agree with that. Coaching staff bringing it back to that. I'm gonna be honest with you. The offensive scheme that they had was A1.
Definitely.
They only went three and out, or they only punted the ball twice,
Hmm.
if that. I remember one time where they actually punted it on the 1 yard line. I
Right.
can't tell you another time, honestly. They went for it on fourth down a couple times. They got them both times. I mean, and even the play calling, if you would look at my reaction video that I have up right now, you would see some of those plays. I started off like, oh no, don't do that. And then once they get the first, I'm like, oh, that
yeah,
that was a
yeah,
great play.
Right.
yeah.
That was a great play. So I have to give it up to the offensive coordinator as well as the defensive coordinator. Uh, he came up with some good schemes. I feel like the defense maybe didn't carry it out as he had wanted to.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So that could be actually on the players, but they didn't quit, and I understood that, and I commend them for that. I commend them for not quitting. All right, and I also feel like that's gonna play a huge part in this Nebraska game. If the defenses could go at it,
Hmm.
then Colorado will come on top. Now, if
Right.
one defense is playing good, if Nebraska's playing good on defense, and Colorado is giving up points, then it could be a blowout. Because I still feel like, yes, they played a great game. Yes, they won, but they have a lot of holes that they need to fix in order to beat this Nebraska team. All right, I'm
Right.
not gonna say that it's an easy win at all,
No.
at
They're,
all.
they're gonna
Let
run
me
it.
let me ask y'all this.
Hmm.
Just from the outside looking in, of course we're not in the locker rooms, but based off your assessment, your opinion, do you feel like them guys are gonna have the mental maturity to brush that first win off, go into the second game and really have the mindset of, all right, it's a new game.
I
You
do.
know, uh,
Yeah, I do. I was checking out Well Off Media. Shout out to him, Deion Sanders Sr. I was checking out some of
Junior.
their junior, excuse me, checking out their videos and the sentiment, everything that's being echoed by the coaches is let's fix the mistakes. Last week was last week. We still got to prove ourselves. The doubters are still here. Let's go. First home game. Everything is shifting towards Saturday coming up. And I loved it. I love that echo. Every single coach said the same thing, what lets me know once again they're mature, they understand what to say to the players and how to convey the message. So I think they're ready.
Good point, P.
Hmm.
Uh, Great question, TP Way. I felt like that was also one of my slight concerns. I hope that this win didn't go to their head. and then they come out short next week because they already hype and they on cloud nine. But I believe in Coach Prime. I'm a believer. I believe. And I feel like he gonna get them right. He gonna get their mindset right for next week. I definitely love Dylan Edwards' post game interview the
Mm.
most
Mm-hmm.
because even though he was grateful for the win, he said we on in Nebraska. And
That's
he
it.
said that multiple times in multiple different post game interviews where it wasn't just the one on Fox when
Mm-hmm.
he did the pregame show, that interview in the locker room. He said, "Yeah, I'm happy for the win, but we looking forward to next week."
Man, look, let me tell you, I'm glad you said this because it just reminded me of something that I saw also.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Edwards, I know I mentioned before how I felt like he wasn't getting the credit that I necessarily wanted to see him get, but I am slowly but surely becoming more and more of a fan of Dylan Edwards, man, because not only did I seen the post game, but I
Mm-hmm.
also seen Dion's son who does the videographer and do all the behind the scenes work.
Right.
I seen a clip on how he reacted when he was going off during the game, and that impressed me.
He was locked in.
He
Yeah.
was locked in, and he had the mentality like, listen, I love what I'm doing too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to finish out this game.
On to the
I'm
next
trying to
play.
get this win,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for
and that
sure.
right there, that is everything you would want to see from your teammate, everything you would want to see from your player. And if you are a Colorado Buff fan, that is music to your ears.
For sure.
So I seen that and I was just like, no, he's him. He's it for that.
And to add to that, I seen that out the whole offense for real. They answered every time TCU scored. It was never the head was not dropped. It was always let's go.
Yeah.
Let's put some points on the board. And Shador, you could tell he has that mannerism anyway. He just
Right.
seems like he's never up or down,
Just like his
ready to
pops.
go, just like his pops.
Yeah.
You know, and so that offense really holds that mentality, and I think that's another proof of how well they're coached and the character in which they recruited
Well, let me
these
let me say
players.
this about Shador because this could be one of the things that I may be reading into a little too much, and I
Mm-hmm.
understand that. But I peeped it, so I'm gonna say it. There
So
was a point in time in the game
Mm-hmm.
when some miscommunication happened. It was a three and out,
Mm.
I'm
and the
glad you bringing
video
this up. I'm glad you bringing this up. Go ahead. Go
and
ahead.
the, and the video went over, and they showed Shador. He went up to the receiver, and he was clearly, fussing him out and about something. Then right after the receiver got done with Shador, he turns around, and then Coach Sanders is on him. Now, there's a lot of particulars and things that you have to be mindful of when you are the coach's son. For example, if y'all ever pay attention to how they take those plane rides, where does Shador sit? He don't sit with the team. He sits right next to Coach Sanders. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure there's other, small little things that happens, behind the scenes to where your coach's son and there's a different treatment.
Before you continue, keep your other point close because I'm gonna just be real quick. I feel like that's because he's the quarterback. But continue.
I was getting ready to say the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. But continue. Go ahead.
So my question to that would be, is he the only quarterback on the team? Because why not everybody else isn't sitting around him?
He's
He's the
QB one.
starting quarterback.
He's QB1.
Okay, but if he gets hurt, what happens? Okay, if he get hurt, what happens?
Then if the other quarterback is starting, they would be sitting next to
Come on
Coach
up.
Prime.
There you go.
Okay, so the thing is, I know on most teams, quarterbacks move as a unit. When one go, they all go. So if you're sitting on a plane and you have to sit next to your coach and he's maybe telling you something that is vital to the game or what you have to look, whatever it is, those backup quarterbacks should be sitting on the row behind them or near them. Because as quarterbacks, y'all are supposed to be a team. Because Shador has to show leadership. If something was to happen and he has to sit out, he has to have that same type of leadership that he would have if he was playing. So I understand him being a quarterback, and I know that sounds good, but there's not just one quarterback on the team. And that means there's not just one leader on the team. And as the backup, you can't just say, oh, well, look, and I really doubt this is going to happen, but you can't just say, hey, look, if Shador gets hurt, all right, well, look, now you sit next to me on the jet. No, that's not how it's going to happen. Shador is still going to sit there, and we know that.
Okay.
Yeah. I totally disagree with everything you just said within that.
There goes the trolling. There goes the trolling.
There you go again.
I'm just
this is why This is why my thing is, if you're QB1, we all know the type of preparation that a quarterback needs, right? We know the type of preparation, the extra film study. What if he's on the plane watching film with the coach? That seems very sensible. QB1 is not going to watch as much film as the backup quarterback. That's not
Why
happening.
not?
He's going to watch more film.
Why not?
He's going to watch more film than the
QB1 is going to watch more film than QB2?
Absolutely.
Why? I don't understand that logic. Because the whole point of having QB2 is if QB1 gets hurt or if QB1, can't perform.
But he's not QB1.
You don't throw away the game because QB1 is out.
You don't. But he's not QB1.
QB2 is just as important as QB1.
That's false. You making that up. That's not true.
It's a fact.
It's not.
I could tell who's
QB1,
really analyzed any given Sunday.
QB1.
I could tell who was really tuned in
QB1 is
any given Sunday.
It is very important. Yes.
It's extremely important.
It's extremely important for QB2 to be prepared, for QB3 to be prepared. Next man up mentality, right? Do your assignment. That's extremely important. But when they predict their roster and they choose their roster to start a season, you are the best quarterback.
Right.
You are the man. So I need you locked in on another level, especially at quarterback. So when everybody's on that jet and they're relaxing a little bit or they're sleeping, you gotta be on that film.
So my question to you is
you gotta
this.
be right here with me. That's what Coach Prime is saying. Hey, leader, you gotta be right here with me. Open up the tablet. Let's go.
My question is, chill out. My question to you is this.
He does have the L on his jersey.
Come on.
Go ahead. Good say.
We'll get into that.
Good say.
But my question to y'all is this. Okay, so let's say y'all right? Let's say Shador gets hurt and he's still sitting there on the jet.
Okay.
What?
What's the question?
All right, my question to y'all is, do y'all believe that there is a change in the mindset? Do y'all believe that it is going to hurt the chemistry in the locker room? That there is clearly a break in the family unit when you are not giving the attention that is required to everybody else in the locker room than you are getting to the coach's son?
I don't want to not answer your question, but counter question. Let's see this. If Caleb Williams gets injured, do you think that's going to affect the locker room?
Yes, it's going to affect the locker room.
There you go. Shador saying this QB1 gets injured. Yes, it will affect the locker room. You know why? Because he's QB1.
I don't understand what that had to do with what I was saying. What I'm saying is this. I'm not saying it's not going to affect the locker room. I'm talking about the team chemistry. I am talking about the fact that when you have a coach's son, which changes the whole dynamic of everything. It's not just about relationship between the coach and the players.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing is, the point of the matter is, you're now playing against coach's son, where he stepped in the door. He already threw out there and said, listen, I'm bringing my son on board. He's starting quarterback. I'm already putting him on his pedestal. Are you putting everybody on a playing field to where everybody is a unit as one? Or are you basically going out there and saying, listen, I'm going to always look after for my son first. It's going to be about my son, and then y'all come behind him.
Oh wow,
That
so
is,
that's
and,
that's what
and
you're
listen,
getting out of it.
that
Okay.
is things, that is going to affect that locker room. We seen it kind of spill out. We seen it kind of spill out in JSU, where the locker room was kind of chattering, and if they weren't mature enough, it was about to get a little ugly for the media for a second, but they were just mature enough to not let it spill out into the locker room. But if you were paying close attention, they weren't feeling how things went down.
let, let me touch on this and kind of bring this home a little bit because I feel like you're reading too much into the coach sitting next to the quarterback. Okay,
That's just an example.
next to the first string quarterback. All right, now you started this conversation off with how he was reacting to his wide receiver.
Right,
That's how you started this conversation.
right.
So to touch on that, how many quarterbacks, how many great quarterbacks hasn't gotten into it with their receivers before?
None of them has gotten into it with their quarterbacks and then their dad right after.
See, he's a coach
Let's,
at
let's
the
just
end
be
of the
real.
day. He
Let's
has
just
to
be
coach a
real.
team.
Yeah, but he hasn't created the coach's dynamic though.
Oh man.
It's clearly father and son. He hasn't created the
Oh
coach and player
man.
dynamic.
So
You can't help that.
I saw the same coach celebrate with his team. I saw the same coach celebrate when Travis Hunter got an interception. I saw the same coach dap Dylan Edwards when he scored a touchdown. I saw the same coach get on other players when they were missing assignment.
You've seen a coach that's celebrated in times of celebration. But what are you going to see when things are not going your way?
He
How is the
literally
team
If
react when things
if
are not
if a
going your way?
receiver runs a wrong route,
So why are
you
you
get
automatically putting it on the receiver? We don't even know what happened.
he all right, all right. Now to TP Way's point, to your credit, I understand sometimes that could be a bad look when it comes to quarterbacks always feeling like it's the receiver's fault. Tom Brady had that same mentality where nothing was really his fault. He would get on the receiver. But that's a mentality that a lot of great quarterbacks have. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Donovan McNabb, they all get into it with their wide receivers. Whether they are right or wrong, it's a great quarterback mentality. Now, you can't be mad at Shador or the team for that matter for his father being the coach. At the end of the day, his father is very fair. All right. He sat Shiloh out for the SWAC championship because he did something wrong. So he's not playing favoritism, no. But when it comes to that QB1, every coach has a different relationship with their quarterback, with their starting quarterback. And they have to. They have to. They have to instill that game plan. They have to instill that confidence in them. You know, of course the second quarterback is right there, but at the end of the day, they're not gonna have that same type of relationship as the first string quarterback.
no.
Smoke and mirrors, man. I think some things you got to read through.
Yeah,
Now, look,
yeah.
you mentioned in the fact that he sat down his son in the game. Y'all got to realize that it was getting ugly behind the scenes at that point in time, and nobody was rewarded with going with him to Colorado after doing that. So if that was any other player and they would have done something that would have ticked Deion Sanders off, best believe they ruined their shots of going to Colorado. They're stuck there at JSU. His son had a ticket up out of there, and and they knew that. So that's a different case.
No,
Agree to
Travis.
disagree. Agree
So
to
look,
disagree.
Travis could
Agree
have
to
done
dis-
something.
Agree to disagree.
well, that's one of his sons. But look, also I I do think that the the coach and son dynamic is a beautiful thing. I think it is something that should be promoted. All I'm saying is when you take that route and you're going the route that they're going, You just really have to be mindful of how you're doing it because it's a team that you have to look out for. It's not just father and son. It's a locker room that your son has to go into when it's all said and done. So you just have to be mindful of how you do things and the way you do them. I'm not saying that Shiloh shouldn't get on his receiver. I'm for that. But if Shiloh gets on his receiver and then right after, coach, you were there to back up your son, that's a different dynamic than anybody else has to really kind of worry about. Let Shiloh take care of that. Let Shiloh holler at him and let that be that and they move on. But for
Depends on what
you
it
to get
was.
bam, then bam, after dealing with that, that's a lot for a player to kind of go through and mentally play through. So I'm just saying you got to be mindful. That's all I'm saying.
All right, all right. So to move on a little bit, number one, once again, I have to tell the world, TPway is the greatest troller of all time. All right, so please don't be mad at his takes. On his stances and everything. He is the greatest troller in the nation. So with that being
Nope.
said,
Absolutely.
let's get right down to the trenches.
Mm.
The trenches. So Pway, you made a point that Nebraska's defensive line could, make a statement when it comes to Colorado's offensive line. Talk
Hmm.
about that a little bit more.
So yeah, that's one of my major concerns, man. It's those trenches because what we saw on both sides, but defensively, them guys look bigger than TCU's defensive linemen, from what
Mm,
I saw, and the push that they were creating was really messing up Minnesota's offense and really stopped them from producing because Minnesota's quarterback still threw the ball 44 times last game, and
mm.
and he only had 196 yards.
That's great defense.
That's great defense. And for the carries, for the rushing, they only had 55 total yards rushing.
And they're known for rushing too.
And exactly. And I think that's a very major concern. And then on the other side, when you look at Minnesota's offensive line, their offensive line was creating a nice push. Excuse me, Nebraska's offensive line.
Right, right.
Nebraska's offensive line was creating a nice push. They ran for 181 yards.
Mm,
What I think the biggest thing that Colorado can do is understand that Jeff Sims, the quarterback from Nebraska,
right.
passing wise, he is garbage.
Talk about it.
He
Mm.
is garbage. His accuracy's not there.
All right,
So give him time. Cool. Just contain him. Shrink
right.
him in and contain him.
QB spy.
Yes, play assignment specific football. That's it.
Right.
Stay disciplined, stick to your gap, QB spy. That's it. If they do that with our talent, he's gonna throw 2 picks to Travis Hunter by the end of the game.
Mm.
He's gonna by
Everybody can
himself
have a
throw.
pick.
Everybody can
Right,
have a pick.
right.
Stick to focusing on the run game and playing gap assignment football, and Colorado will win this game. But the
Now,
trenches is a concern.
one thing that is kind of being put out there now, and I was questioning it during the game, and I'm glad somebody made a note of it. But they have the D in the L's. Typically, I know the New York Giants, for example, they have the C's, which is for captain.
Hmm.
Deion Sanders has the D and the L's for dogs and leaders. Dope concept. But my question, and I want to find out the answer to this, but how many of those D's and L's are on the offensive line and defensive line?
Mm.
Y'all, they need some D's on the defensive line or offensive line.
That's a
Mm.
great question. I think an L is on the defensive lineman. What's his name? Cooks.
Shane Cooks.
Yep, I
No, no,
believe
I'm
he.
talking. I'm thinking about Cokes. Cokes.
Coates, excuse me,
Shane
Coates.
Cokes.
He
Yeah,
has
yeah.
an L. He's a leader. As far as the dogs, I don't know. I got to investigate. Let's see.
That's a good question.
It's a
That's a
great
good
question.
Uh,
question.
And just from Coach Deion Sanders' sentiment about where he's at mentally, talking to the media and stuff from last game,
Mm-hmm.
he's kind of let it be known that he wants a different performance from his defense and from them guys up front. So I wonder what they're going to cook up as far as schematically and whose number he's going to call on to kind of step up
Mm.
Right, right. You talking about on the line? You said on
on
the
the
line.
line. On the line, correct? Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay. I once again I agree. Of course, that's been one of our biggest concerns was the defensive line. Um, of course, the offensive line, but they shocked the world last game.
They
Oh
did.
yeah,
The
yeah,
offensive line
They
shocked the
did.
world. We not going, let that go past us.
yeah.
The defensive line could definitely improve a
Mm-hmm.
lot, a lot, and they need to put more pressure on these quarterbacks. Uh, when it comes to Nebraska, Jeff Smith, that's his name, right? Pway
Yep.
Jeff Smith.
Yep.
So Jeff Smith is a
Excuse me, Jeff
mobile quarter.
Sims. Jeff
Sims,
Sims.
I'm sorry. Jeff Sims. Sims is a mobile quarterback. He can get out that pocket. He is
He can.
crazy on his feet. He's
He can.
crazy. All right. And like I said before, TCU's quarterback was actually getting some yards when he tucked the ball and run. So I know for a fact, especially him, he went for 94 yards. Jeff Sims 91 yards. Jeff Sims last game rushing. He led the team in rushing.
He did.
I didn't see not one spy on TCU's quarterback last game from
Mm.
Colorado. Not one spy. So obviously they wasn't prepared for that.
Right.
I hope that they come in prepared. And even then, we're not the experts. All
Mm-hmm.
right. They have defensive coordinators, they have linebacker coaches, safety coaches. They have people to scout and watch film and look at these things and adjust. I hope and pray that they adjust.
They need to. They will have to.
They
They
should.
they will have to.
Yeah.
Jeff Sims threw the ball 19 times last game
19 times. How many yards?
for 114 yards. He had a 34.9 QBR.
Yeah, yeah. How
They're
how,
gonna run the rock.
how many interceptions he had?
He had three.
3 interceptions. How
They're
many
gonna run the rock.
touchdowns he had? How many touchdowns he had?
He threw
Passing.
one, and that was on a fluke play where they did a reverse. They threw it back to the quarterback. He dropped it, and dude was wide open. Even that was a fluke. I'm not concerned with their passing game. It's all the running game. It's going to be up front. It's going to be the interior. Like I said, he had 91 yards rushing. The running back behind him had 55 yards. They run a lot of double tights. It's going to be a gritty game.
Now, now the flip side, not to cut you off, P Ray,
Mm-hmm.
but now the flip side of that is, the ground game opens up the passing game.
It does. It does.
So just like Mike Vick, Jeff Sims could be running all up and down this field,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be looking at him. Meanwhile, there could be a quarterback right down a wide receiver right down the field,
Mm-hmm.
wide open, because everybody's looking at the quarterback.
Right.
That's another concern that I have. Of course, the running game, but that running game can open up the passing game, and
Exactly.
I am afraid of that.
And to me, I feel like that is where the coaching staff and um, their expertise comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we're saying these things, they're also watching film, and I'm pretty sure they're pointing that out and they're expressing how important it is to be disciplined for this game. So, I can only imagine that's the topic of discussion. But you could talk all day. It's about how you react to things in game time, and if they're getting killed by him making plays with his legs, it can be tough for them. But then again, with Colorado's offense looking how the way it looked, I mean,
T- T-
look,
Unstoppable.
come
TCU
on.
was not as close as we think. That game was not as close as we think. When you go back and look at Edwards' fumble, a block field goal, a kick return for shoot, that went for almost 70 yards or something crazy. You look at a drop interception right into the hands. You have two deep balls, one overshot, one
No, you
drop.
can't do that. You can't do that.
Okay, I'll do the
You
one
can't
drop.
you can't do that. You can't do that because TCU was in the red zone and threw two interceptions.
Well, that's
Exactly.
well, that's
Exactly.
because Travis Hunter was on the other
Yo,
side.
and ladies and gentlemen, this is when y'all talk about me being the troll, but this is what I mean about the
No,
biasness and
that's
just the
because
clear overhypeness. He was
that's
ready to take away every
that's
turnover
because
just to make the
that's
Colorado look
because
better than what they already look.
it's because
Ladies and
Travis
gentlemen, that's
Hunter
why
was on
I'm
the
here.
other
I'm here
side.
to stop all that.
The interception only happened in the red zone. Well, the first one, that was a bad pass. But that second one was straight number 12. was
No,
straight
it
12.
was. It
Don't
was.
worry,
Was
y'all.
straight
I'm not
12.
gonna allow it. I'm not gonna allow it. I'm
It
gonna
was.
stop all the biasness.
I I agree. I agree with with TPway on that. You you could go both ways with that. You could go
For
both
sure.
ways with the turnovers and
For
the
sure.
mishaps. So I'll give him that. I'll give him that. One more concern before we move on.
Mhm,
Special teams. Special teams. Like TPway just stated,
mhm,
the 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 actual kick got blocked.
mhm,
The timing was off, obviously, between the kicker and the snap,
mhm.
and that needs to improve drastically before we can move on because those 3 points count. Honestly, those 3 points won the game. If you want to be real,
It did. That's crazy.
if you want to be real, if we didn't get that last field goal, it'd be a tie game.
Mhm.
So they definitely have to work on that as well as the kickoff coverage. They
Yeah.
they brought it to the 5.
That was
I honestly,
ridiculous.
I would be worried about it if I didn't hear Coach Sanders mention it post game. Like I
Mhm,
said, the fact that he mentioned it kind of just lets me know that that is going to be the topic of discussion during practice and during film room and things of that nature. So it would be a worry of mine if I felt like they weren't going to be better and do better. But I'll be lying if I say that I'm necessarily worried about those things. Coach Sanders really takes me as a guy that is um, going to definitely highlight the things that they need to get better on
He's
mhm,
and
very observant.
make sure right
mhm.
and make
Yeah,
sure that that is not an occurring um, thing that happens for
Figure
games to
four.
come.
yeah, yeah,
So
for
Yeah,
sure, for sure, for
yeah.
sure. Go
He
ahead, P.
also
Wade.
he also mentioned that, which I didn't even know or recognize, there was only 6 penalties by Colorado that whole game. 6 penalty. That's incredible.
It
That
is
shows you.
incredible. It is incredible, but a
Mm-hmm.
couple of them almost lost us the game.
It did. It
You know
did.
that late hit on the quarterback on the third
Yeah.
down
Exactly.
that almost lost them the game.
There's no need for that.
we'll
No
That
see,
need.
and then that's also another side to that home crowd. Now we've all played sports, and you know that one person, it's looking like a Shiloh to be honest with you, but you know that one person that just wants to be a part of something just because his adrenaline is through the roof. We seen that play when Shiloh, the dude clearly wasn't catching the ball, and he just came in and just head hunt and smacked the receiver for like no reason at all. You know,
He could have caught a pick if he played the ball, which is crazy. He could have caught a pick. But
true.
that's shallow though. Shallow been playing that
He,
way.
he doesn't play
As
the ball.
yeah,
He doesn't play
yeah.
as
the
much as I covered him,
So,
yeah,
so it's really one of those things where if you let that home crowd really take over your body to the point to where you start lacking,
mm-hmm.
your responsibility and discipline, that could also be a thing that you may see factor into the penalties and such going on. But again, it is something that I seen Coach Sanders say that he was proud of, and he definitely wants to stay on top of. So we won't know until we see it, honestly. But I honestly don't believe that is also going to be too much of a problem. But hey, man, we'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. And with that being said, we're gonna move on to the actual score prediction segment.
Ooh,
Now now we did it last episode, but because we actually sat down and actually did some game tape, and we studied and scouted and saw how Nebraska came, we might have different answers. So I want to hear from Pway first. Give me your game score for Saturday.
I had a score prediction the other day of 42-21 Colorado. I think I'm going to go back on that because of the running game of Nebraska. I think it's going to play a bigger factor than I realized.
Mm,
And I'm going to give them another 3 points.
okay.
That's it. So I'm going to
Okay.
go 41, 42, excuse
42,
me,
24.
24, Colorado.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Yep.
TPway the Giant. Talk to me.
24-38, Colorado. Um, until they show me otherwise, Colorado's going to be 35 plus points every game.
Okay.
Until they show me otherwise.
Every game? Oh
Wow.
shit.
Wow.
Oh, he's a
Hold on.
believer.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold
He's
on.
a
Hold on.
believer, ladies
Hold on.
and
Hold on.
Do
gentlemen.
you
Hold
believe
on.
now?
He's a
No.
believer.
Hold on.
Do
Hold
you
on.
believe now?
You
Hold
don't
on.
even know what he said.
Right,
No.
right.
35 plus doesn't guarantee you a win because they got to see a teams like Oregon. All
Okay.
right. They got to.
Yeah.
They got to see some
USC.
guys.
USC.
So USC. Like so, until proven otherwise. From what I've seen, I'm not gonna give them anything less than 35 until proven otherwise.
So you said 35 what? 21?
21.
35-21. I feel like that was my prediction last
I
episode.
think so. I think so.
Yeah. Oh no, you know what? I said 35-28. I
Yes, you
said
did.
thirty-five
Yes, you
twenty-eight.
did.
I made it a closer game because you know, eh, until the defense shows me
Mm-hmm.
something otherwise, I'm gonna change my prediction. But other than that, you know, after I saw TCU put up 42 points, I can't give Nebraska, less than 21.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to, especially with a running quarterback. If TCU's quarterback could actually run, they would have put up 58 points, 62 points. It would have been a whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give them 35-28. We gonna come out on top, Colorado, and I'm saying we because I'm riding with the Buffs. All
There
right,
we
I'm
go.
here. I'm here. I believe, Coach Prime.
There we go.
All right, just remember that. All right. I need some tickets. We all need some tickets. Well, me and P-Way need some tickets. All
There we
right.
go.
TP-Way the Giant.
Front row.
He's a troll. All right. Matter of fact, get him some tickets too so he can be a believer.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll
get
go
some
on the
tickets too.
field, put them up there,
Word,
all the way
word.
up top. We'll go on the
Real
field.
talk. Real talk. But we all
Mm-hmm.
believers. Any last words? Anything to say, whether it's for Colorado, Nebraska, or next week's episode?
Yeah, let me say these two things real quick. This Sunday, also, as y'all can see in the back, NFL football season is officially started, right? So I'm definitely going up on TPway the Giants YouTube channel, where it's
Follow that.
Giants everything, man. At least once a year, I kind of give y'all, a game day vlog. We talk New York Giants football, and you never know, man. We may have somebody from Colorado going to be with the squad, man. Don't think we not checking y'all out, but
Right.
tune in to that if y'all are Giants fans, or even if you just an NFL fan in general. Tune in to that. Secondly, I must say this, man. In all seriousness, uh, all three of us here, man, we really take pride um, of our culture and who we are as black men. So to see what Coach Prime is doing for our culture in general, we all just want to give a just a big salute to everybody over there and everybody that's just been a part of the journey in general. JSU, we haven't forgot about y'all. Y'all are a part of the journey as well, and I'm pretty sure Coach Sanders will second that. But we're doing this, man, because we love um, our people, we love our culture, and the game, of course, has brought so many great things to us. So I just wanted to take the time, out of all of the talking shit and things like that, that I make sure that it's understood that we absolutely love what you're doing for us and our people.
Mm.
So
Be-
giant salute to y'all for that.
Salute, salute.
beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Beautiful.
Pway, anything.
For me, just thank y'all to the viewers who've been tuning in, supporting. After our first video went up the other day, definitely some support out there. We really appreciate it. So like, comment, subscribe, and keep tuning in. We just gonna get better, better, and better.
Yes, yes. I'm a third everything. I'm a third
Mm-hmm.
everything and just, tell y'all to keep continuing to support, subscribe, like, comment. Yes, all of that. All of that. We definitely are here for the long haul. We not going anywhere. We gonna stick to this Colorado Buffs talk. And really, honestly, this page started out as being a complete college football page where, we'll talk about all games.
No doubt.
But because we we believe in and we represent our culture so much, it's only right that we put a spotlight on the Colorado Buffs. It's only
Facts.
right. Not because it's the biggest talk in football, period. No, it's because of our culture. We feel
Mm-hmm.
like Coach Prime needs people like us to follow him and to put his platform out there a little more and to put our platform out there a little more and represent what he brings to the table. You know,
That's right.
I believe.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna be honest. I believe 100%. Uh, I know Pway believes 100%.
I'm there.
TPway, we working on him. We working on him. But
he,
but he's coming
he's
along.
coming
Look,
along.
I
He's coming.
believe. I just don't believe how they believe. That's it.
Okay. But he's coming along.
He's
So
coming.
I want y'all to continue to tune in to each episode. We're gonna have a lot of content coming out soon, very soon. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
hit that bell to make sure y'all are notified every time we, come out with something. And like I said, continue to tune in. Love y'all and peace. We out of here.
One love.
Peace.
Peace.